I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together, it's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. You can tell. You and me were meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Good evening, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. It's 9 o'clock on Thursday, September 30th. This is the evening show. This afternoon, we got a second quilt made and the first two quilts put into the book with their stitching all around them. So, based on how quickly things are going, I think we'll not be done with quilts tonight. I just don't really see that. Just don't see that being likely. However, I do think it's possible that, well, I mean, we'll definitely be done with quilts next week. We'll definitely be done with quilts next week and moving on to the next thing. So, Good evening, Glitter Gang. Good evening, Finger Biters. I hope you're doing well. We are working on tonight the advanced version of the Quick and Easy Pocket album. And this is the Family Heritage version using Simple Stories Heart. All the supplies are linked in the video description, as well as the album basics guide, where you can get access to the measurements and the how-to videos, as well as the classroom archives. Become a member and support the show. So let's go right in. We've got to cut at least 2 more of these up. So, yeah. I have some ideas for how to make things a little easier on myself. So the pieces that I've done the diagonals on, so basically I took all the pieces and parts that I thought that I would need for the pages, and I kind of put them all in, mapped them all out and put them all on a sheet like this so that it would be easier to use and quicker to go. And it was easier to use and quicker to go, but there are some improvements I could have made. One of the things that I did do is I put diagonal lines on the pieces that would have to become triangles, and I did them with a 1 pixel line in a very light gray. I can barely see them, but it did help earlier today. So what I'm gonna do now is on those pieces, before I cut them out, I'm gonna cut the lines. They need a line down the middle this way and a line down the middle this way in kind of a cross shape. So I'm gonna just do that before I cut them out. Because I didn't mark those lines, I only marked the diagonal lines. So I hope you're all doing well this evening. You had wonderful afternoons. Mornings, whichever. All right, and then that's for those, but then one of the some of these, it's these 2. It's these 4 up here. These also need to be just cut in half. So I wish I'd known that the yellow ones that I needed to cut in half were right above the gray ones, but oh well. Could have cut everyone at once, but it's fine. It's fine. It's really fine. Okay. All right, so I think that's, just somehow flung a pair of tweezers at myself. All right, so that's everything that needs to be cut additionally, aside from the diagonals, which I'll just cut once they're all cut out. All right, so I'm gonna get some scissors, and I wasn't getting entirely clean cuts earlier, and my scissors are pretty dirty, so I'm gonna give them a little zhuzh. So hello, hi, how are you? Happy Thursday. Greetings to, oh, by the way, I chatted, I think there was a chat that was started before I started the stream. And usually if there's a chat going before I start the stream, sometimes those people get shucked off into a cornfield. So if you cannot see where I typed into the chat, greetings Glitter Gang, happy Thursday, then you're in a cornfield and you just want to refresh until you see where I typed into the chat. Greetings Glitter Gang, happy Thursday. So greetings Glitter Gang, happy Thursday. Good evening to Kathryn, who's the first person to chat after me, after I created the new chat. Or, well, I don't make it. It makes itself once I start the stream. And hello to Ella and to Bev. How are you doing this fine day? Hopefully you're neither too hot nor too cold. And good evening as well to Donna and to Deb. How are you? And then we have Jill who says, hi everyone. Morning for Jill. Carol Jones says, good evening. Hello everyone. Ooh. I hope you're having a beautiful evening. All right. Let's just start chopping stuff up. Oh yeah, this is a much better cutting experience than I had this afternoon. All right. This time of year, I always have to remind myself that seasons change for most people. Because, you know, it's not a big change in heat between August and September and even October down here. So I was on a phone call once with some friends. I think it was in November. And it was a video call. And one of them was in upstate New York. And then the other one was in Germany. And, you know, I was just moving around the house and I walked outside. And one of them said, I'm sorry, are you sitting outside in a tank top? And I was like, oh yeah, totally. Why? You know, and they're like, well, isn't it December? And I was like, oh yeah, it's winter. That's a thing that happens. So I do forget. I do forget. So like just now, Melanie said it was 60 where she was, and she was a little cold, and I thought, that's weird. And then I remembered, it's winter. It's winter, or well, it's not winter, it's fall, but. If you guys vote on that Alaska book, then I'll get fall, really wintry fall vibes. So book club voting is tomorrow in the chat. Not the chat, the group. The Facebook group. Hello, Mandy. How are you? Well, I mean, mountains, you know, there are parts. There are some mountains that always have snow on them, right? No matter what. I do remember one time when we lived in Miami, the whole country was in a deep freeze. And there was snow in 49 of the 50 states because in California and Hawaii, they have snow on their mountains. And my sister called me and said, thanks for messing it up for us because we don't have any mountains in Florida. So, you know, it's just really rare that there's ever snow. But we do have falling iguanas. So that, you know, that makes up for it. Saturday is World Card Making Day. Ooh, fun. I thought Card Day was in April, actually. Did they move it, or has it always been this time of year and I don't know anything about anything? It's no, it's cousins, but not spelled like your family member. It's got an E in it at least. Let me look it up to get the exact spelling. It would be hard to make an iguana ball to throw at someone. Oh yeah, you wouldn't even want to try unless the iguana was very sleepy, and then it would probably still be some kind of animal abuse. But yeah, iguanas can really mess you up. You don't want to disturb them. Okay, so it's cousins, almost the same, but with an E. I thought it was spelled weird. I'm glad that it's helped, Veronica. I'm sorry you're having a bummer of a day. All days should be fine and lovely. All days should be fine and lovely. I don't know what I was doing in between shows, but the time just felt like it flew. My alarm going off to remind me to come up here and turn on the pre-show, it startled me when it went off. I was like, what? What's that noise? Now, hopefully, you're ready for December. How'd you do for November, or excuse me, October? Did you read all of those, or are you waiting to see what the vote is? I actually am kind of curious about Practical Magic, and I might read that either way. And I'm curious about that Chris and Hannah one, the Alaska one too. So I don't know. I might read more than one of those. When I was younger and smarter, I used to always read Russian novels in the summer. And I feel like, you know, to cool me down, so I feel like maybe reading a book about Alaska would do the same thing. Give me fall vibes. Ella said, I had 2 teeth pulled today. I had the best dentist and didn't feel anything, no pain. Upper left all the way in the back. Implants are next. I have my upper left molar all the way in the back, the last one. I had that one pulled. I was born with a hole in it. You know, it formed with a hole in it. And so it was just always problematic my whole life. And eventually I was just like, just yank it. And I don't miss it at all. At all, at all, at all. All right, so let's see. Let's just keep going, cutting everybody out. All your baby teeth had holes? Well, all my molars have birth defects. All my adult molars, I should say. I don't know if my kid molars had them. But all my adult molars have extra points on them. They're all weird shapes. When I had braces, my orthodontist's assistant, the person who would put the bands on your molars, she always called them flower teeth. And she said they were really a devil to get the bands around. And she'd never seen any teeth like them. And I have been told it's a pretty rare birth defect. So yeah, it affects all my molars. They're all weird. And then just one of them also had a hole in it. So I don't know. I mean, it's never bothered me that they're all strange shapes. Like I said, it's only just been, you know, like I had a tough time with braces because of it. But really, other than that, people don't like notice your back teeth. So it's not been a big deal. All right, so these I have to cut on the diagonals. Diagonals. And I was also born with no wisdom teeth, even though both my parents had all 4 of their wisdom teeth and all of my siblings had all 4 of their wisdom teeth. So I've always thought that not having any wisdom teeth had something to do with my birth defect in my molars, that they're connected, because it just seemed weird to me that I was the only person in the family who didn't have any. And my orthodontist, he said that my jaw is very long for the amount of teeth I have, and I have tons and tons of space in the back. So I have to wear a retainer to keep my teeth in place, because otherwise they want to slide around because they have so much room. So I don't know what was going on, but apparently I was skipping days during the teeth formation classes. Well, we're glad you're here, Melanie. Were they good, Judy? So Judy's read 2 of the books. I mean, I was going to ask her what direction that she wanted to steer us in, but my guess is she'll vote for, she likes Chris and Hannah a lot, so. I haven't taped these pieces. I'm going to tape the paper I'm sticking them to so that they won't have tape on them when I handle them. We have a plan. We're working smarter, not harder. Or something. Something along those lines. Something along those lines. Okay, so we're almost done. We just have this strip to cut, and then we've got everybody. So, yeah. That's my... I guess I am kind of curious about the women who switch lives on a plane, and why they would be drawn to doing that in the first place, and then if it has some kind of like Strangers on a Train, Hitchcockian vibes, you know. Or like, who's read Patricia Cornwell? All those spooky twist endings she always had in her books. Patricia Cornwell, is that who I'm thinking? Am I thinking of? Ruth Rendell? Who am I thinking of? Who always wrote those books that were like the sinister version of O. Henry's stories? She wrote the book that Mrs. Winterbourne is based on. It's called So I Married a Dead Man. Let me see if I can get her name. I read a bunch of these when I was younger. They were probably wildly inappropriate, but I just took them out of my parents' library. Oh, it was a guy, Cornell Woolrich. My bad. Just kidding. No, Patricia Cornwell wrote all those Scarpetta books, right? And because I read a bunch of those, but then they kind of went off the rails. And I stopped keeping up with them. They were good for a while, though. But then there was always like, they moved to Florida, and then like people were always trying to kill her. Like, she was the most famous person in America, and like I've never even been able to name one medical examiner. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, really, how famous could she be? You know, you know. So, but they were good for a while, for sure. I liked them. And they were set kind of nearish to where I lived originally. So, before they moved to Florida. Although I guess I moved to Florida, so, you know. But she moved to Florida before I did, so. They're always like, like, I always think it's funny, like, authors, you know, authors, how do I want to put this? It's sometimes weird what they think people care about. So, like, for example, in the Dan Brown book, right, with, like, the Da Vinci Code or whatever, the guy in the Da Vinci Code, like, he's supposedly so, like, cool. He was in the first book it says something like he was one of Boston's magazine's most eligible bachelors or something like that, and I was just like, oh really? Please, some like nerd cryptologist? I mean, unless he's also a billionaire playboy, please, oh, give me a break. You know, I'm like, whatever. Whatever, Dan. That's the most unbelievable thing in your book. It takes all types. Like, this is just wish fulfillment. That's what this is. All right, we're almost there. I listened to the Da Vinci Code as a book on tape back when you had to like rent CDs from the library on my commute. And I couldn't tell you anything about it at all. This seems to have gone faster. I think it's because I cut them before I cut them. I think that really helped, because instead of having to make, you know, line them up and make cuts and then line them up and make cuts, I just made the cuts. But maybe it's also practice. I mean, I've done it once now, so. Last one. I didn't read any of the other books in that series, though. But, all right, so now we're going to put our tape on here, and I think it worked earlier what we did, where we kind of went off the edge so that the paper stayed flat. And really what I'm doing is sticking it more to my desk than anything else. And I put the 3/4 inch tape down. I lined it up with a line a 1/2 inch in. That way my 2-inch tape, because all of our blocks are kind of in 2x2 squares, I don't want any adhesive on a 2-inch line. So by offsetting it like that, I won't have any adhesive on a 2-inch line. Whereas earlier, I did that, but I just was like less intentional about it. I just kind of let it partially hang off the edge for funsies. All right, so now I'm gonna just get under an edge here, try and pry it up. And then I'm gonna burnish it once it's flipped this side up. And then I'm going to, Mr. Lifeguard is a reader, but he only reads before bed and he only reads sci-fi. So occasionally we read the same stuff because I enjoy sci-fi from time to time. But even the types of sci-fi that we enjoy are not necessarily the same. Right now I'm trying to decide if I want to read Dune or not. Because it's a chonker. And I don't usually go too much in for... So with science fiction, for me, I'm mostly interested in what can whatever technology or culture or alien civilization or whatever it is that you've introduced in your book that doesn't exist, like what can you say about people, you know, that gives me like some distance from being a person affected by the thing you're talking about so that I can, you know, look at it with new eyes and a fresh perspective. Does that make sense? So like a book like Star Wars, I wouldn't be interested in that too much. Like if there was a book that was just like straight where, you know, mostly the technology is interesting and that's what the draw is. Like, it's just cool. It's cool. It's just cool. You know what I mean? So, like, he will read both. So he doesn't care. Like, if something doesn't have cultural commentary and it's just cool, he can like it. But for me, that just drives me crazy. I can't. It's just so, I'm not interested at all. You know, if all you're doing is, like, describing your cool ship to me, I don't care. So in fact, I don't even want that many details. I just want enough details that I can like get what's happening and then move on. And so in that sense, I just sometimes feel like Dune, I mean, just based on the size of it alone, feels like it's got to be like Explainsville, you know? Plus, and I have a friend who it drives just crazy whenever I say this, but like, I don't know, like the main guy's name is really Paul? Like, just, I mean, really? And his mom, she's Jessica? Like, really, the main characters are Paul and Jessica? But they're Bene Gesserits? Like, you came up with that? The real Alan Jackson announced that he has a nerve disease that's genetic and related to Parkinson's, and many of his family members have been affected. Interesting. I didn't see that. I wonder what it is, because my Alan Jackson, she died very young of, I don't know if it's a nerve disease, but of something like that, you know, I'm going to just click on the news real quick and see what he says he has. And see if I recognize it from what. So it's not what she had. Interesting. She had something called Raynaud's. Which can make your body like feel numb in places. So I wonder if they're like at all related. Although I guess actually it's his dad's side of the family, so it wouldn't matter. Yeah, I'm gonna send this article to Mr. Lifeguard just so he's aware. If anything, just the information, if he feels like weird, you know, can maybe help him get to a doctor faster or something like that. You know what I mean? They're not so closely related, but if he has multiple family members with it, it's worth at least like looking at it. Well, I feel bad. sounds like it's affecting his ability to do music from what this article, so that's too bad. Charcot-Marie tooth disease, a degenerative nerve condition that affects his ability to walk. That's a shame. Okay. All right. So we are ready to stick it down. Mr. Lifeguard's stepdad, the guy who raised him, he actually called us this week because he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. But he has a very mild, low symptom form of it, which his doctor said won't affect his life expectancy, and it's managed easily with just 1 pill a day. And you know, told us it's kind of like a best case scenario if you have to have Parkinson's. So I just am looking at this because I don't think I cut. I have to peel all the tape because I kind of confused myself with how it was looking. So, all right. I just have to be careful not to touch it too much. All right. So we're going to start in the center. And now, oh, I shouldn't have glued them into the book because now I don't have a sample. Like how, oh, I'll use the one from that Chaka posted on Facebook. That I'll just use hers. Perfect. She's saving my butt and she's not even here to see it. Saving my booty. All right. All right, so she posted them when they're all like stuck together. So I'm going to be able to prop this up next to me and at least I'll be able to see. So, all right, let's stick everybody down. Use the release tape to place under your left hand. Ooh, thank you, Ella. That's a really good idea. Can run it along the edge and that'll give myself some, ooh, something to, all right, so now we use the very lightest ones. But yeah, I don't always remember the family tree, but their grandfathers are brothers, which I think makes them second cousins. But I'm not 100%. So that's a pretty distant relation as far as, you know, family stuff running in families goes, but, you know, it's good information to have either way. All right, so I've got my center square. Just gonna flip it over, and I'm holding the release tape, and I'm not, like, I'm just lightly going over just to make sure everything's kind of stuck down. All right, so from that center square, we put the little faux strips that I made. The faux side strips that will look like triangles once we put the finger biters on them. Don't you hate it when it just like grabs right away sometimes? You can't even scooch it just even the tiniest little bit. Why are they called finger biters? Because, oh, Ella, you missed it. But last week when I was doing the quilt, I couldn't / wouldn't figure out the math of like what the diagonals of this square should be that go in the center of this, you know, because this is a 2x2 square on the outside, but this square isn't a 2x2. So what I did is I folded this little thing so that I would know how big I had to make it. And I said, this reminds me of those little fortune teller things from school. I was like, what are they called? Finger biters? Which I don't think they are, in fact, called finger biters, but they are now. Now they're called finger biters. So I just said all night long, now we know how to make we know how big to make these squares now that we have the finger biter. And so, yeah, it does look like those little guys, doesn't it? But are they called finger biters? I don't know. But yeah, those little school fortune tellers. It's cute. It's a finger biter. Okay. All right, so we've got our up and down column. So I think now I put the plaids. So yeah, so now I've just been talking about how this quilt was made possible by finger biters. And I've developed a new quilting technique called finger biting. I'm sure all the actual quilters are horrified. They're like, oh, why? Why? They're called cootie catchers. And used because they can be used as a pincher to play act catching. I don't think I've ever called it a cootie catcher in my life. Gretchen, to teach the finger biting technique, is that why to come to your quilting retreat to teach the patented trademarked TM finger biter technique? Is that why? Is that why? Okay, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to use the lighter ones because I only have 6 of the darker ones. So, or do you want to teach me how to? You're sure everyone will want to learn? Everyone will be like, what on earth, Gretchen? All right, so the blue gets stuck here next to the quilt or the plaid. Judy says, I bet lots of quilts got made during lockdown. Yeah, and quilting is extremely popular. Extremely. And then lastly, into the corner we put the floral. So I'm just going to burnish this whole little area, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of a trim to tidy it up here. Oh, I did something wrong. This one's wrong, I think. And I think this one's correct. Yeah. Oh, well, great. I just have to swap these two. Yeah, actually a friend of mine who's really into quilting made tons of masks. And she donated them all to places. Like they went to a lot of like hospitals and medical care facilities and things like that. She eventually did make them for people as well. But she donated most of hers to places that were really looking for any kind of mask they could get. And she said it was a great way to use up leftover fabric. Okay. All right, so we're just going to leave that square alone and move down here. I was looking for quilting retreats the other day because, like, not like a retreat that I could go on, but like the places where retreats are held. Because a friend of mine is getting married in June, and she wants to DIY her dress, which it's not my wedding, so I am supportive. But, you know, I was like, maybe there's a place that would have all the stuff, you know, so she wouldn't have to, like, get so much equipment. Now, it's not like she's never sewn before. But, like, and her sister's quite a competent sewer as well. So, and so is their mother, actually. But it's like her sister didn't DIY her wedding dress, and her sister is the more competent sewer. So, so that's one of those things where you're just like, that does not look right. Is this the... No. This is right. This is wrong. Oh. It's like I'm looking at it and I can't figure it out. Oh, quilting is so hard. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was just like, it would be just completely nerve-wracking. You know, and the fabric's very expensive. Like, I had a wedding dress made for me by a seamstress. And the fabric was just, it was crazy. And that was getting stuff from like the garment district in New York City. And it was still, you know, just because a lot of it's imported, it's silk, it's hand beaded, lace, you know, it's just expensive. Not that like buying a wedding dress off the rack is cheap, but I mean, I don't think you save any money, you know, or I don't think you save much money unless the dress you want is like some $20,000 gown that you can't afford, or if you could afford it, you don't think is reasonable to spend that much money on one dress or whatever. And you want to recreate it. Like, I guess I could see that. Maybe that's what she wants to do, but I don't know. She also has an appointment for Kleinfeld's in November, so hopefully she'll just find something amazing there, and that'll then she won't have to worry. All right, I'm just going to start working on this other side because apparently I can't get these corners exactly right. All right. So this needs to go like this. All right, I think we're gonna at least get this corner done properly. Yep. There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. Don't jinx yourself. All right, so I'm gonna do a little trimming here. All right, so I need this here. Okay. And then, no, we don't need that there. Why am I doing the same exact mistake over and over again? And why won't these pieces just peel up? Why are they testing my patience? Ugh. All right, great. So now all right, I'm gonna have to stick glue on some of these pieces to cover my mistakes. Your grandson's getting married this Sunday. Well, ooh, that'll be fun. Are you going? Nice, that'll be fun. All right, so we got a second corner done. That was nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's tough out there. Trying to find a place to live. Even finding a reasonably priced rental in the neighborhood you want can be crazy. Today I was just reading in a Tampa paper, there's like a new thing going here where they're building developments that are only houses for rent, so that they won't be selling any of them. They'll just be permanent rental neighborhoods. All right. But that's not going to make it easier to buy a house, because those are just going to take up space and cost money. But we need help with rent. Rent's wild in this area right now. Oh, I have to pull those up. I never pulled them up. I just like gave up on this corner. And then like never removed these. Luckily, I do have more of the pieces this shape, so the ones that are totally unsalvageable. Ugh, okay. I'm just gonna throw away the curly ones. All right. So I'm gonna put the glue where this piece needs to go and set it down on the glue. I'm gonna use one of these dark, slightly darker ones, so I don't have one corner that's like much darker than the other corners, you know what I mean? And then I'll fill in with the yellow. All right. Success. I don't know where she's moving. I did see the invite to her open house. I hope she's able to sell and gets a good price. But she should be able to. Because housing market is maybe going to cool down, but it's still real hot right now. Yeah, buying's the tough one. All right. Is this it? Did we finally get there? Yay! We did it! All right, we did it. So what I'm going to do is, oh, we didn't do it. We're not done. We didn't do it. We did not. We have to put the finger biters on. We almost forgot our finger biters. All right, so gotta do the finger biters, and then we can throw everything on my desk that's left into the trash so we don't confuse ourselves later. All right, so alrighty, now we're getting to all right, last one. Alrighty, this one's done. We just have to ink the edges now and add tape to the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and just burnish it really well. And then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing, burnish it really well again. All right, now I'm gonna tape. Gonna just actually and then once I've stuck this tape down, I'm going to burnish it again. Again, burnish well. All right, so I'm going to take all these little scraps and set them to the side. And all right, so this is ready to go in the book. So what I'm going to do, and it's looking cute. It's looking cute. So what I'm going to, oh, I have to ink. All right, so if I don't make any mistakes, I should have just enough time to get the last one done. If I don't make any mistakes. And then we'll stick them all in their books next week. All right, I'm going to do a quick recording break. If you're watching live, nothing's going to change for you. Just hang tight. If you're watching in the archives or in the album basics guide, just go to the next video and see how the next one comes out. Hopefully more smoothly than this one. Bye now. Greetings, Glitter Gang. Welcome or welcome back. It's 10:15 on Thursday, September 30th. And we are, I don't want to use this one. It has a smudge on it. Good thing I have an extra one. We are going to continue on with our pieces here. So what I'm going to do now that I know that these ones need to be cut, I can actually cut them at the same time, which will save me a little scooch of time. All right, and then we'll do the same thing to this one. And then we will flip it and then cut again. And then cut this one. And then everything is cut. I mean, not everything, but good progress. Good progress has been made. Okay, so now we just slicey dicey. So let's see. Kathryn said earlier in the chat, if you don't like a lot of detail, not to read Robert Jordan. I agree with that. I read 10 of those books. I quit partway through the 10th one, so I guess I technically read 9 of those. I think I've mentioned before on this show that I don't ever start a book series unless it's finished these days anymore. And Robert Jordan is single-handedly the reason why. Because I got like through 9 of his books, and then in the 10th book he spent like 300 pages describing a dress or like something, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't anymore. I don't care. Like if I could have just skimmed over the parts that I wasn't interested in and found out how it ended, it might have been one thing, but I wasn't going to like wait for a new book to come out every so many years and then read about dresses. But They are making a TV series, so at least I'll get to find out how it ended. Of his books. So now I mean, I guess I could have Googled it at any point in the last 20 years if I cared. So it's probably an indication that I don't care. Maybe sometimes they change things. That's true. Or sometimes the book's not done and they just got to make it up as they go. So. But I did read a book this year by Brandon Sanderson, who's the author who finished The Wheel of Time after Robert Jordan died. And it was pretty good. I liked it enough that I might read one of his series. Mandy says, same thing with the series I read long ago called Clan of the Cave Bear. The first 7 or 8 books were great, but then the last one took 10 years and was awful. Well, and I have the Clan of the Cave Bear on my list of completed series to read. I wonder, should I take it off? If it has a disappointing ending, I don't want to read it. I don't want to read 8 books to get to a disappointing ending, you know? That's why I haven't read any Game of Thrones. Because I don't, you know, things need to be done. I'm not looking for, you know, something to wait on. Like, I don't have a problem with a series that's like an anthology series. So, like, what I mean by that is, well, like the Scarpetta books, right? Like, there were things that carried on from book to book, but, you know, eventually, like, what had come before. But each book had its own contained plot. So, you know, you could kind of dip in and out. You didn't have to remember a bunch of stuff for 10 years. See, that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to have to remember all this stuff. People are like, oh, now that the new whatever book is coming out, I'm going to reread the other 6 books in the series. I'm like, no, no, thank you. You won't miss anything if you don't read the final book. Yeah, because I've always been interested in Clan of the Cave Bear, for sure. And it's not like I don't have the patience or whatever for a long book. I mean, I read a book last fall that was over 900 pages, and it was one book about the history of the west coast of Florida, which is, I live on the west coast of Florida, and how it was developed, and some of the famous people. It was really interesting. I know you'll be shocked to find out that a lot of those people were messed up and weird. So, yeah. But yeah, there were plenty of people, like, they would show up on the page and I'd be like, oh my gosh, there's a major highway named after this guy, or the courthouse is named after this guy, or, you know, stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting. And they all sucked. So. then there's skink, the craziest. Honestly, like, there were some people in the book that I'm talking about that was, that would have given skink a run for his money for, like, top Florida man. Oh my gosh, that book was so bad. Ugh. Ugh. We watched a deep sea fishing movie recently. It was like about those orphans that won that famous fishing tournament that's in Mexico every year. I know you guys know it, of course, because you all follow competitive deep sea fishing. As do I. I mean, I know that's what we're known for on this channel. What the heck is that thing called? Oh, anyway, some orphans won it. Oh, spoiler, the orphans win. Whatever. You know from the first 5 minutes that that's what's going to happen. Because they wouldn't have made a movie if they hadn't, but... the whole time the movie was going on, I was like giving running commentary on everything I learned about competitive fishing from the bass book, and I was like, yeah, one of the things I learned is that they all cheat and hide fish under the water. And then there's a scene in the movie where they're like, maybe we should cheat and hide fish under the water, and I was like, I told you that's what they do. Mr. Lifeguard was like, oh my god, shut up. Shut up about competitive fishing. Yeah, it's in Cabo San Lucas, but what's it called? Starts with a B, right? So Mandy says we should all read News of the World. It was quick reading and really interesting. And Judy also said that we should all read News of the World. So maybe we should just all, maybe that should just be the January book. Bisbee. That's what it is. The Bisbee, right? Thank goodness we tied up that not loose end. So anyways, yeah, that one was one of the worst ones from, I mean, because the beach book was bad, but like it wasn't like offensive in the way that the skink book was, like just completely, like the beach book was just dumb, but the skink book was like, oh my goodness, what on earth? What was the skink book? Oh, Double Whammy was what it was called. Do not recommend. So much cutting. So yeah, anyways, I'm now a deep sea fish, or I'm now a fishing expert because of double whammy. But you know, that's sad for me. I feel like my life is worse because of it. So my mom called me and she said, it looks like from Facebook like you're having trouble with your book club. And I said, well, it's just that they don't like the book they picked. And I said, it just happens to be the case that most books aren't amazing. I said, most books are just okay. And she said, yeah, that's what I've been noticing. Most books are just okay. But yeah, most books are just okay because most things are just okay, you know? But maybe one of the Christmas books will be nice. And even if they're not, like, it'll be fun to just read heartwarming romances around the holidays. They better be better than The Hating Game. I read a lot of bad books in a row recently. I've definitely been in a rough patch. And it's funny because, like, I know what I like, and, you know, even if you follow people who usually like the same stuff as you, sometimes there's real misses. Gretchen is recommending the Paris Library if you're looking for a read. That one's not been on my radar. But then I don't keep up with, like, the latest and greatest really very well. I'm usually, like, really up on what was popular 2 years ago. So because I like to be a little bit behind the curve because then I don't have to wait at the library. Although I had to wait for Daisy Jones, even though that came out in 2018. This is the fourth quilt. We're almost done. That's the third quilt. We're almost done. The quilts 1 and 2 are in the book already with their stitching. So we're in good shape. Okay. This is just an extra sheet I printed. So it's not one that's remaining to be done. And once I get all the pieces cut, it doesn't take too long, but getting all the pieces cut does take a minute. Melanie says the Book of Lost Names is good. Did I bring... I didn't make one that I don't have to cut. I decided to just make every single one like the people wanted. Who says I don't care what you vote? So they're all quilts. They're going to be all quilts. So yeah, it's not going to be too bad. All right, last piece. And then we do have to cut we do have to cut our 6x6 sheet, because I remember I messed one up last week and I only cut 4 of them, so I don't have one ready to go. So I do have to cut one, but I can just cut it off of this. In fact, I have an idea for something I can do there. Okay. I'm just gonna, and just a reminder, there are SVGs for this, that Shaka made, for you, just to be nice. She made them just to be nice. So thank you so much for making those. And they're in the archives folder for this project with the classroom membership. And also they are in the album basics guide folder. So if you have either of those, you can download them. So they're there for you. So she made them. So thank you so much for making them. I know it's very much appreciated, including, and she has a great step-by-step tutorial that explains like how it all goes and a template and everything. So it's very, very good. So I'm just going to stick it onto this, I think. I think that'll be the answer. This looks like a math headache. No kidding. Oh yeah, and there is the one you can just print out as well. So she hooked you guys up big time, big time. And the email she sent was to Kathryn, Mr. Lifeguard, aka Alan Jackson, aka 50 Cent. So she got all his aliases. That gave me a chuckle. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna peel this all up. And then once it's done, we can just cut it out of this page and have it be nice and trim and ready to go. Okay, so I have my little guide up here that'll tell me what to do. Got to get my tweezer. I was like, why is this so hard to stick down? Because you don't have your tweezers. we got our centerpiece. Just gonna give it a little press. All right, excellent. We got our centerpiece done. So now we're gonna take these bits and place them one above, one below. And then this one goes down next. Okay. All right, so now I'll do this on the sides. Okay. All right. So next I've got the gray plaid squares. All right, and then let's just try to not screw up the blue pieces this time. I'm basically a quilt scientist now, right? Like here with my little tweezers, doing my precise like rocket surgery level placement. Oh yeah. You guys didn't know you were signing up for quilt science class, but that's what happened. That's what happened. Maybe there's like levels to quilt science, and the peak of quilt science is finger biting. Like that's how you know you got to the top. When you get your finger biter. When you graduate from quilt science school, you get a ceremonial tweezer and finger biter made out of gold, like presented to you with your diploma. It's like the caduceus staff, you know, of the medical profession, only I would argue more prestigious. Much more prestigious. All right, so I just need to put the final 4 corners in. I'm certain this is the only quilt school that teaches the finger biter technique. That's, you know how like in the old kung fu movies, like hello. I'm back. I was basically just saying that it's like You know how in the Kung Fu movies, all the Kung Fu masters, they all have their own like specific techniques. And they kind of make fun of this idea in the Kill Bill movies. And like Pai Mei has his 5-point palm exploding heart technique that he doesn't teach anyone. And so I was just saying that you guys have basically been like little monks in a quilting monastery, learning quilting on like a cosmic level. And your graduation is you get taught the finger biter. The 5-point palm finger biter technique. You're going to tell your quilt guilds about all this. They're going to be blown away. I mean, I imagine if you did tell your quilt guild all about this, they would at least think it was funny, right? They would have to at least think it was funny. I mean, it would be an entertaining time, I would hope. Gretchen says, I don't think I know anyone with a golden finger biter. All right, we did it. That one did not take as long. Probably because I didn't mess up every single corner. Probably because of that. Look how good it looks. Aren't they so cute? All right, I'm going to really burnish it well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut it with a ruler and a craft knife. I'm going to just flip this over so I can see the lines better. And I'm just going to cut it from the back. I have landslide stuck in my head because of our discussion this afternoon. All right, there it is. So now all we have to do is ink it and put, I'm gonna recycle these little bits. I'm gonna keep this in case we need scraps later. I'll just put it in the scrap bag. You never know. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over time tonight and add these to the book just so that this book is done. That should take me an additional 15-20 minutes. So it's not too far over, but I am going to go over a bit. I see my reflection. All right, so I'm going to put the finger biter in the tiny scrap bag so that the finger biter stays with us. I'm just putting tape on the liners. Oh, and I need tape on the back of this one, right? Yeah, this one has tape. Yep. Okay, almost there. Whew. Yeah. Breakup songs, you know, they're always great. I like both their breakup songs. I like Landslide and I like You Can Go Your Own Way. Obviously totally different vibes, and You Can Go Your Own Way is a little rude, but I don't always think of it as like a get out of here song so much as like just a reminder that, you know, you got to make your own path in life. I thought I would still be quilting next week. I did indeed. I did indeed, but I was wrong. Even after we made this one, I thought I would be quilting next week, but everybody seems to have come together. Come together. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. He meant it for meanness. He did. He meant to be mean, and it is mean, so that kind of sucks. If you watch the 1977 video, music video from when they were on tour, just like there's a right in the beginning, there's like a shot of Stevie Nicks picking up her tambourine, getting ready, and she's just staring at him like she wants to like murder his face off. And it's like, girl, if someone wrote a song like this about me, I too would look at them like that. So but look at that, how cute they are with their little stitches. Aren't they cute? Okay. We just have to figure out, I just have to figure out which side goes on which side. This one goes over here. Yeah, this one goes over here. And this one goes over here. Can you imagine? Well, and that's what's really fun. Like, I was reading some quotes from the members of Fleetwood Mac, because like Fleetwood Mac was a band before they asked the two of them to join. Can you imagine, like, their singer and their guitar person quit, and then they went through like 3 guitar people who quit, like one right after another or whatever, so they were really desperate, I think. And like, you hire these two, and at that time Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham had been opening for like really big acts. Like, they had been touring with really big, huge, like super famous bands. So you hire the two of them because you figure professionals, they're going to bring their own fans, whatever. And then their relationship is already like completely exploding when they start. The first album is all about how much they, you know, like the first album has like the first album, the one called Fleetwood Mac, it's already starting to fall apart on that first album, and then Rumors, it's like a mess. And like, I was reading about one of the people from the original Fleetwood Mac band before the two of them joined, and he was talking about how Lindsey Buckingham started writing You Can Go Your Own Way, and it was like they were all at a house in like Miami, and he was just picking up his guitar and he was just shouting, "Loving you is the wrong thing to do," and then he just like wrote it like right in the middle of all of them. And the guy said something like, "I could just see how that was going to improve things," and I was like, those poor people, they were probably like, what have we done? And then at the same time, it's not like you could just fire them and tell them to get out, because you're the #1 band in the world now too, right? So it's like, you're kind of, I mean, they could have told them to get out, but then they would have to sacrifice all that success, right? So I mean, they probably, the 4 of them, or the 3, I think there was 4 of them, they were probably just like, what on earth have we done? I did ink my liners. I inked all the liners earlier. When I made the first 2, I just did all of them. But thanks for checking, because it's not like I've never made a mistake on this show. So. Well, right, because you have the passion. Yeah, they had been together like their whole lives, basically. Their first collaboration was when they were 16 years old. Can you believe it? I mean, that's like, honestly. Oh, look, it even says A4 on here. And it says A4 on here. So I'm glad I double checked. I was just double checking to make sure past Kathryn knew what she was doing. All right. I'm going to set the book aside. You do. You gotta, you know how past Kathryn is. You gotta check on her. This one, I'm just gonna. Okay, so I just am gonna make sure it's right side up, and then we're gonna stick this on. Anyway, so I've heard that there's a book about Elizabeth Burton, or well, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, and I want to read, because I think that was the inspiration for Evelyn Hugo. So I think I want to read the nonfiction of that, and I wonder if is there like a nonfiction about Fleetwood Mac? That's probably really interesting. All right, so now the only thing left to do is to do the stitching and put it in the book. So I mentioned this before, but I'll just mention it again. When you're doing the stitching, if you're not sure where to start your stitch, you can put something that connects the corner of this piece to the corner of the cardstock and start your stitch right there. And then from there you can just do the corresponding stitch. So if you're not sure where to put it, that's where to put it. All right, so once I've done my 4 corners, then I come out five, 6 stitches. And then go to the other side and do those. Come out 5, 6 stitches. Just be careful not to smear what you've already done. So I'm resting my hand on my other hand so I don't like put it down in the white. Okay, and then once you've done that, all you have to do is just do a run of stitches that connects them. And when I'm doing my stitches, I kind of am looking at this stitch more. Like I always have that stitch in mind because I want to end up on that stitch. So I want to make sure that I'm aiming towards that stitch the whole time. But it also, I remember reading, what was the band Gwen Stefani was in? No Doubt. Their best album was when she and that guy in the band were breaking up too. And I was reading one of the band members said that every morning she would come in with a new banger and it would just be another song about how he sucked. But that they knew it was going to be a hit, so they all just had to like put up with it, you know, all their drama. All right, and we're already done with that one. And that just gives it a beautiful frame and adds to the stitched look. All right, and then I do my 5 stitches, 5 or 6 stitches. And the reason I do these 5 or 6 stitches is because if I have to like squeeze in a stitch or make a stitch extra long, I want it to be somewhere in the middle where that happens. I don't want it to be on the corners because I don't want, the corners are like what frame it. So I want the corners to be nice and crisp and even. And that's also why I start with the corner, because I don't want a stitch to end just like short of the corner or something like that. Like that's why I work from the corners out, because that way my corners will frame nicely. All right, so now we just do our final run. All right. Looky here. We've got 2 finished pockets. That's French for pocket. And now we're going to get the book. Tiny. Oh my goodness. What are you doing over there? Tiny cat. Oh, what? Why are you here? This is not your spot. I know. Are you trapped? What's going on? Yeah. What's the problem? I know. I'm over. Okay. I'm going to go finish my book real fast. I know I'm over time. No, don't bite the book, please. Please don't bite the book. I know. Oh, you're so cute. Come here. Oh, she's right on the floor. She wants floor time. Okay. All right, I'm almost done. All right, that one goes there. And that one goes there. Oh, look at it with all 4 of them. How cute is this? How cute is this? Oh, squeaky, squeaky. This book is looking good. This is what a Masters of Quilt Science will get you. This is what you get. All right, so I'm going to peel the tape just from the bottom. And then once I have the tape burnished, oh, I should stick my tape down. I didn't put it on these two, but it's not the end of the world, really. It just makes it easier, but it's not like it's required. Your pockets will still work if you don't put this tape. They'll just work easier if you do. Tiny cat, so sad. She's on the floor in the little spot where she wants floor time. She's doing this little prancing thing where she kind of prances with her front paws and then makes a fist and then prances with her front paw. It's really cute. It's almost like she's trying to like hop and knead at the same time. All right, I'm gonna, when I close this, I'm gonna hold this shut so that I know, because I can always poke in the sides if I need to, but I need that flap to be shut or else the pocket won't work. And then really, really, really a nice page. It's kind of annoying how cute it turned out, because I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to just relax and make diagonal line quilts anymore. But it's a really nice, specifically this album to include it is a good album to include it in. Because of the family heritage theme. All right, so those are the 4 corners of this page. So we just have to figure out what goes here and what goes here, and the book's done. So we only have 2 more layers left. So we only have 2 more layers left. So not too bad, not too bad. So when we come back next week, we'll do the we'll pick a pattern of paper for the tags that'll go with the quilt, maybe something yellow to go on top of the blue. We'll figure it out and we'll add the tags, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do on the next layer. But that is it for me. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful weekend with beautiful weather. all the best music and television and movies that you could possibly want. And I will see you next Thursday, not next Tuesday, next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time. So check the video description for links to everything I've used here today or discussed here today. Also, I have times that we do the broadcast and time zone converter so you know what time it is where you are. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll be back next week, Tuesday at 2 o'clock and 9 o'clock Eastern USA time. Until then, have a great weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye now.